6 years ago, her journey into dementia care began when she started taking care of her mother. 2 years ago, she extended her caregiving responsibilities to her mother in law. Through these personal experiences, she has gained invaluable knowledge and developed compassionate strategies to manage the challenges of dementia care. Driven by a passion to help others, she founded Parents Dementia Journey, where she offers programs and one-on-one support tailored to the unique needs of caregivers. She also authored a book designed to be a comprehensive resource for anyone navigating the complexities of dementia care. Her name is Kathrine Knight. Kathrine is the creator of Parents Dementia Journey. Her company, Parents Dementia Journey, offers courses and coaching, teaching care heroes the tools and techniques so their lives move from feeling frustrated, angry, anxiety-ridden, and totally overwhelmed to being calm and in control of their lives. Her mother was diagnosed with dementia. After overcoming many intense challenges caring for her mom, taking classes, and talking with hundreds of caregivers of loved ones with dementia, she decided to help others on this difficult journey. Kathrine is the author of an Amazon bestseller, Parents Dementia Journey, the Caregiver Guide from Chaos to Calm, which has sold in 6 countries. Kathrine has over 5,000 followers on Facebook, and we are about to meet Kathrine to hear about her challenges, the lessons she's learned on this journey, and what are our words for us today. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back with my guest, Kathrine Knight.
No matter how dark the night is, the sun always rises. No matter how hard life gets, keep moving forward. You never know what amazing things are waiting just around the corner. No story is too rough and no journey is too tough. Join us on Stretch Street to be inspired by the stories of people who have been through it all and come out stronger. Stretch Street Podcast. Stretching without snapping.
Hello, Kathrine. How are you doing today?
I'm doing beautifully.
Awesome. Good to have you here. So, Kathrine, I want to start with, some trivia question just for us to get to know you better on a one-to-one basis. Tell me one fun thing about you.
Well, I traveled the world as a child. I lived in Japan and Canada and Europe. And so for me, I'm a global person.
I love it. What's your best part of traveling around? I mean, because traveling is not the same for kids, especially if it has to do with like moving, not just travel for holidays, but actually moving and leaving. What was the best part for you then, and what was the worst part for you?
The best part was meeting new people. I loved meeting new people and new cultures and everything. The hardest part was my brother and I fighting to get the window seat. I have an older brother who's 4 years older, so he thought he should get all the privileges. And I thought, I'm the younger sister. I should get all the privileges.
I can imagine. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let's come back to your story. You're doing one of the job that I guess people do it, but not with the same mindset that I've heard you speak about, right? Most people do it out of necessity. Probably that's the only job they could get. But for you, there is a level of purpose that I hear from the little conversation we had before we started recording. So just kind of walk us through your story. What was the beginning of you dealing with people with dementia? Why did you pick this path?
The beginning of the journey was about 6.5 years ago. What happened was my mother called me and she said, "Honey, can you help me with my finances?" And I thought, she's a master at finances. Let me run down to her house. It was about 17 minutes away. I drove down, I walked in, and she said, "What are you doing here?" I
Hmm.
said, wait a minute. Am I crazy or something? No, you asked me to come here. I did? Okay, so I go back home. Then the next day she calls me again, and I thought, this is getting really weird. Am I nuts or what? And so I started talking to my husband that something's going on. I get there and she doesn't remember she called me. And that was
Mhm.
just the starting point. That was the starting point of, I know something is going on. I don't understand it, but I know something's going on. And
Right.
so I went to her. I said, Mom, let me sign up with you and start going to your doctor's appointments. I really want to help you, and I'll take you and I'll do that. And she says, well, I don't know if we should do that. That's private. And I said, well, no, I want to help you. So she was supposed to meet me at the doctor's office to sign the form so I could start going in with her. And she didn't show up. So I called her and said, Mom,
Oh.
you're supposed to meet me. Oh, I was? Yeah. So she drove right up. We went in, we signed the papers, we got it set up. First time I went to the doctor with her, she said, she doesn't trust me. Second time I went to the doctor, she said, she's helping me. And third time, she said, she loves me. So it took time to get it moved over to be her advocate.
Right, right. Wow. And this was when? What year was this?
That was 6.5 years ago. That's when I first started noticing that she was forgetting things and things
Right.
weren't going on. And then it was kind of a step learning about what was going on with her. So I
Hmm.
talked with her doctor, and her doctor said, well, Mary, I think that maybe you should start thinking about moving in with your daughter because you're forgetting things. And, I think it might be good. And we'd walk out to the car and she'd say, well, in 6 months, I'll think about it. Then what happened was we started seeing more stuff. And then Christmas time came around. And we're all waiting for my mother to get there and waiting for my mother to get there. And she's a very punctual person.
Mm.
3 hours later, she finally got there. And we had been calling her house, calling her, and we said,
Oh,
oh, I
wow.
took a wrong turn. 3
Oh.
hours later, we've lived in this house for 26 years.
Mm.
I'm worried. So then I went back to her doctor and I emailed her doctor and I said, I'm really concerned. So we went into the doctor. He did a very basic test and he said, Mary, I'm going to draw this circle. I want you to point to where in this circle where 10 minutes to 11 is. And my
Hmm.
mom
On the
looked at
clock.
it. She couldn't figure it out. And then he said, I want you to count back from 100 by sevens. So my mom says, sure, I can do that. 100, 93, 76, 42, 12. And
Oh
started
my
off
God.
good, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden she went downhill. And so we're looking at that. And then he says, who's the president? She says, that jerk, Truman. Truman?
Oh.
Truman was a long time ago. So he
Right.
said, Kathryn, your mom has started dementia. I need to send her to a
Hmm.
specialist to get it verified, but your mom has dementia. And my mom's saying, no, I don't. So we headed home. I'm talking to her about coming to live with us. And then we gave it a few more months. And then I get a call. She's been in an automobile accident.
Oh no.
I'm terrified. I'm terrified. I go straight to her house. The car is damaged. That is on the 5th of the month. On the 10th of the month, I'm coming back from a meeting about 35 miles away. I was a student development manager. I work with students who came to America to go to high school. I'd had a very wonderful meeting. It was a beautiful sunny day, and I'm driving back, and I've got 4 highways coming into one. It's a traffic jam. My phone rings. It's my nephew, Joshua. He said, Aunt Kathryn, something's wrong. I said, what do you mean something's wrong? He says, Grandma's talking funny. I said, what do you mean? She's mumbling. I don't understand it. I said, give the phone to Grandma. Let me talk to Grandma. Mom, what's going on, Mom? Mom, what's going on? And all I hear is, oh, blah, 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 blah. And
Oh
I said, give the
no.
phone to Josh. Give the phone to Josh. Joshua, call 911 now. Please call 911. Hang up the phone. But no, 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 no buts. Just call, please. He called 911. I'm stuck in traffic. We're not going anywhere. We're going maybe an inch every couple minutes. I am
Mm.
totally panicking. I'm crying. I'm
Worried.
hysterical. I got to get to my mom. I don't know what's going on. I call my husband. He doesn't answer. I call my son. He doesn't answer. I call my
Oh, wow.
daughter. She doesn't answer. Nobody's answering the phone. I call my best friend Marcia and I said, Marcia, I can't get something's happened to my mom. I think she's had a stroke. I don't know what's going on. I gotta get to my mom. Kathryn, don't worry. I'll get a hold of people. Don't worry.
Hmm.
Then I called Peggy, who was in the front office, and I said, I gotta get a hold of my husband and my son because they worked at the same place. I said, I gotta get them to Kaiser in San Rafael. Please my mother, I think, has had a stroke. I don't know. I'm totally panicked. Peggy says, don't worry, I'll get a hold of them. So I normally a drive that takes about 15, 20 minutes took over an hour and 15. I am crying. I am hysterical. I've got to get to my mom. I finally get to the hospital. I go rushing into the emergency room and they send me where to go to my mom. I walk in the room. She doesn't know who I am.
Oh,
I'm looking at her saying, Mom, it's me, Kathrine. And she's looking at me like, who are
who are
you?
you?
And then
Oh,
Marcia was there. She'd gotten there. And then my son came. She didn't know my son. My daughter came, didn't know my daughter. My husband walked in. She knew my husband. Wait a minute. You know, my husband,
oh.
the person you gave birth to, you don't know who that is? Oh my gosh. I'm totally freaking out. I'm freaking out at that point. She knows him, but she doesn't know me. Okay,
No,
this is
me.
not fair. So so we're
But at
progressing
least,
through
thank
this.
God you know someone.
I know it's very bizarre. You don't know me,
I
but you know him.
know.
And so the doctor came in and he said, "Well, we checked her blood levels and it doesn't look like she was taking your medication. And we did a scan, and your mother has dementia. Your mother can no
Mm.
longer live on her own." And I said, "Well, what can we do?" And he goes, "Well, she has three choices. She can go live with a loved one, she can go into assisted living, or you
Home.
can hire
Mm.
someone full time to be with her because she does need full time care." And my husband and I took a walk and we thought, well, this is mom. I mean, she's a tough old bird. We'll have her live with us. And we had a large
Mm.
house, 5 bedrooms. So we took her. When she got out of the hospital, one of the best suggestions someone had for me was take her bed, put it in your house. Take all her knickknacks from her room, put it in her room. So we made the room look like her room
Like
in
a
her house.
home. Right, right.
It was really helpful to have someone who knew what to do at that point. So at that point, we get mom to our house and she says, "Well, I want to go home." And I said, "Honey, this is your home.
Home.
This is your home." And then she had got something called aphasia. And aphasia is, as the doctor says, they pull things out of their brain like a file cabinet and they say a word, but
Mm.
it doesn't make any sense. And she would say, "Truck. What do you mean truck? What's truck? What do you want?" And it was very hard at that point. It was extremely hard at that point because we didn't understand what she was trying to tell us. It could mean I was
Right.
hungry, I wasn't hungry, I want a drink, I'm cold, I'm hot. We had no idea, but she'd say truck. And so we're struggling with that, and we thought it would just be taking somebody a little bit older into our home and they're pretty independent and they can do what they need to do. Oh no. It was a total different world that we walked into. And I was working full time.
Wow.
So I was at Kaiser one day and getting medication for my mom. And one of my tax customers came up to me and said, "Kathrine, how's it going?" I said, "Oh, it's hard. It's so hard. I got to go to work, but I'm off for 3 weeks because I'm trying to figure out how to take care of my mom. I don't know what to do. She's waking up in the night. I'm not getting sleep. I'm totally overwhelmed." And he goes, "Well, I have the answer for you. Take this number. Call this lady. She will get you someone to care for your mom so you can go back to work." Really? Oh my God,
Mm.
I hugged him. I hugged him. I called as I was walking out. I called the lady. She was there that afternoon. We had a caregiver interviewing the next day. That was wonderful.
So that means
Meanwhile,
you having somebody come to the house to help so that you can
yes,
work.
yes, I did. And that made a world of difference for me. And then I started thinking, as I'm waking up in the middle of the night trying to figure out the best solution for the next day, I tend to be pretty proactive. And I'm trying to
Mm.
figure out the best way to take care of my mom, give her dignity. You know, my youngest was saying, "I'm moving out. I can't take this." And I'm thinking, wait a minute, my baby's going to move out. Oh my, well, it was time, but still, I don't want my baby to move out. I mean, he's the youngest of 4 children and I don't want him moving
Mm.
out. And he's thinking, well, yeah, this is kind of crazy around this house. Grandma's kind of woo. And so we started progressing through this, but I wasn't sleeping good and I was exhausted. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to research this. I'm going to take this. I'm overwhelmed. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. What can I do to change this?
Right.
Because in a prior job, my job was to go in and work with companies and figure out what their problems were and save them. And I think I'm going to
Mm.
save me. I
You're
want to
still,
save
oh,
me.
wow.
So I started searching all that, and I started looking at every book, every video I could find, talking to people. I started interviewing people, and I had hundreds of thousands of notes. And then I thought, well, heck, I got all this information. Why don't I write a book? So I I wrote a book and it's still
Nice.
selling really well. It's called Parents Dementia Journey. I wrote a book. And then I started thinking, well, you know what? If I can do this for myself, maybe I can help others too. So I started going out
Right.
and starting doing videos and starting helping other people. And then I started doing workshops. And slowly, little by little, I started growing it. And, that's the thing. Taking care of a loved ones with dementia around the world, it's the same, but it's
Mm,
different. We have a
mm,
lot of the same things, like the biggest challenge for loved ones with dementia is hygiene, getting them to take a shower, getting them
mm.
to get clean. Oh, I took a shower this morning. Well, no, you didn't. I was here the whole day. You didn't take a shower. I mean, and one of my favorite stories with one of my clients is Cara. Cara had just come into our program and she was really struggling and she was crying. And it's like, oh my gosh, Cara, what's going on? She says, I can't get my dad to take a shower. He won't take a shower. And then he said, I want to go on a date. And she goes, well, you're 93 years old. I said, Cara, I have an idea for you. I want you to say yes. You make him happy. I'm not taking him
Mm.
to a bar and getting him a date. He's 93. He'd probably have a heart attack. And I said, Cara, trust me. Trust me. Say yes. So the next day, she said, Dad, I want to get you clean. Well, I want to go on a date. And she says, okay, you can go on a date. Let's get you cleaned up. Let's get some clean clothes on you. Let's trim your hair. Let's clean your nails. Let's get you all ready. Really? I can go on a date? Oh, you sure can. She gets them all cleaned up. It took about an hour and a half to get them all ready. And she said, Dad, are you ready to go? He goes, I need to
Go
take a
away.
nap. And he
Oh.
goes, so she learned, because he had short-term memory loss, and that short-term memory loss, I knew that it would take him about 15 minutes to forget what he wanted to do. And so
Hmm.
that's what you have with the different levels of dementia. And I learned with my
Right.
mother, when she first came to me, her memory was 15 minutes, or more like 30, and then it came down to 15 pretty quickly. And then now she's about 30 seconds to a minute
Oh,
that she can remember
wow.
something. So
Wow.
that's really, what's difficult with loved ones with dementia is
Right.
the brain works very differently than ours do.
Mm.
And as my husband says, if you try to figure out that person, how they're figuring their thought process, you're going to go insane yourself.
Right.
You
Hmm.
know,
So
it's
then
a
what's the
different.
best way to deal with it then?
Well, what is really important is to not pull into their, if they're frustrated, pull into their frustration. You got to let it
Hmm.
go. Maybe walk away, take a walk
Okay.
outside or something. And something we work hard with everybody that we talk to is to get balance in their life. Like if I've had a really rough morning with my mother and they're frequent,
Mm.
I will go out on my back patio and I will take my Kindle and I will read for 10 minutes.
Hmm.
That calms me. Or I'll take a
Right.
dog for a walk. You got to have different tools that you have to relieve you, because if you're frustrated, they're frustrated, and then you're
It's
frustrated,
just
and then
gonna
it's
be a
just a
cycle.
violent circle. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a negative circle. So you got to
Mm.
stop that.
Right.
So with my mom, I may walk in and she might know who I am. Generally, she knows that I'm someone that cares about her
For her.
and that
Hmm.
I'm there to help her. But there's times that she fires me. I'll walk in and she said, "Get out, you're fired." It's like, "Hey, man, I'm your
Oh.
daughter. You can't fire me. I hire me. You can't fire me." And so, we go through a lot of different things, and many people with taking care of loved ones with dementia go through some of the same things. I have a
Right.
friend who goes to San Francisco and takes care of her mother with dementia. And what? When she first told me about all these things, I thought, "Oh, she's just playing it up. Oh, that can't be that bad." Oh, yes, it can. Oh, yes,
Now
it
you
can.
know.
So, so keeping that humor is important. It's really
Hmm.
important to keep that humor because if you don't keep the humor, you're going to be very frustrated yourself.
Right.
And, I can tell you that, 6.5 years into this process, I know how to deal with it. I can take it and I can say, okay, I need to take a walk. I need to go out to lunch with a friend, get somebody over here to
Right.
stay with them because we can't leave them, both women, we can't
Alone.
leave them by
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
We got
yeah,
to have somebody
yeah,
here.
yeah. In that journey right now, what exactly do you then do? So when you say your program, can you just tell us a little bit about that program? So is the program for people with parents or relative with dementia? Is it for
Mhm.
them? Or do you run a home for the people with dementia? Which is it for
No,
you?
that's our future. That's our future. Right now, the program is specifically to help the caregivers, or we call them as the
Mm,
care heroes, to help them.
okay.
So, what we do is we have a 6 month program that we do weekly Zoom calls. We have one on one calls once a month. Plus, we built in another 3 emergency calls. If they have a really stressful time, they need to talk to someone, we will talk to them. We
Okay.
handhold through the process. And
Okay.
that's really important. And on top of that, we do free workshops once a month. We do those workshops to give back to the community. We do them
Right.
on hygiene. We do them on Alzheimer's or dementia versus old age, the myths and facts. We do a program
Mm,
on that. So we do a lot of those things. And
right.
our position is our goal, our mission in life is to help those who are taking care of loved ones with dementia, give them the resources and the tools to take them from overwhelmed to calm and confident. And we
Right.
do that specifically because there isn't enough support out there for caregivers. There,
Hmm.
I think it's beginning to be more and more. In the UK, I have clients in the UK, New Zealand, the United States, all over the world. And the biggest struggle we have is caregivers. And when I said in the future, we take 50% of our profits, we put it into a fund. My goal is to open care respite centers so that care heroes can get a break. My
Oh.
goal is to get each care hero at least a week to 10 days a year that they can go out
Hmm.
and have a
And
wonderful
just
time, regenerate themselves, be happy, and know that
right.
next year they can get another one. And that's
Right.
what we're building the company to do is to build respite centers around the world.
Yeah. I love
It's a
it.
big goal, but it's an important goal
Hmm.
because we want to make it specialized that they have when they come, they bring their trinkets, they have their pictures on the wall. For that 7 to 10 days, they feel like they're
It's
home.
just us. Yes, it's just them. I think I was it maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Somebody had that kind of arrangement here in the UAE.
Good.
It was for this wasn't for caregivers specifically, but it was for they call them. It's not house help per se, but like people who home assistants, so to say. So people
Hmm.
who would help you in the home. So they just had
Hmm.
like a whole gathering just for them to just kind of celebrate them to have them I just remember that when you say that's where the your company is going, and I think that's such a beautiful thing to know and to
Hmm.
plan towards, and I'm hoping that everything works well for you to create that in the
Well,
world
thank
because
you.
truly it is needed. Yeah, personal care assistants. So, what would you say are some of the lessons that you have learned through this journey? Before you share that, there's something that was coming to my mind. So, for your program, does it have to be um, relatives of the person suffering dementia, or can it be that? So, say I have my mom has the dementia, but I'm working and I just want somebody
Hmm.
to be there. So is it you? Are you going to be my client, or is the person I get, or would you are you able to get somebody for me to also help with that?
We do a multitude of things. And so
Okay.
we don't hire people for you because
Okay.
we're all over the world and there's different laws and everything else. But what we
Right.
do is we train the you. most of our people are family members taking care of loved
Right.
ones. We do
Right.
have some professional caregivers in our program to
Mhm.
understand the dementia, because
Yeah.
it's very different taking care of somebody who's just getting old
Old? Yes.
versus someone that has dementia. It's
Dementia.
very different. The
Mm.
challenges are much more different, and the
Right.
challenges change when you go from, on the
The
level
levels.
of 1 to 7. 3 is not bad. 4 is starting to get a little more. 5 is a little more difficult, and to where a 7 is, I have to change my mom every 4 times a day. I have to.
Mm.
Some days I have to feed her. Some days she can feed herself. It's uh, not a straight line going down with dementia. It's up, it's down, it's going backwards.
Ah,
It's all over the place. And so
right.
she might be a 7 today, but half hour later she might be a 6.
Mm.
That's really that's where it gets a little difficult too, is
Yeah.
because I ask my mother each morning. I say, "Mom, how old are you?" And some days she says 17 or 15 or 13. And I'll say, "Oh, okay, we're going to have problems. She's going to try to get up and fall down. She thinks she's young and spry." Okay, if she says
Mm.
she's 2000, I know she's going to stay in bed today. She's not going to get up. So
2000.
I have an assessment of that, and it's been a miracle, because I know what the
Mm.
day is going to be, because she is
Right.
feeling young and spry, or she's feeling old today. So
Oh,
how
wow.
do I assess that so I know what I can do to help her? Because
Right.
I keep my brother into a text. I text him updates of what's going on with my mom, because he's 500 miles away. He wants to get over here when he can, every now and then. And
Mm.
that's the whole thing. I told him, "Michael, I don't think she's going to last much longer." That was 6 months ago. And so he rushed down here. He got here. He walked in her room and she said, "How's Cheryl?" Cheryl didn't know who he was, but knew his wife was Cheryl. Now, how do you put those things together? I don't
Oh,
know.
wow.
So, but she perked up. And then for the next few months, she was perked up. That was really a blessing. That was a blessing. So I'm hoping he'll come down again soon. So maybe we can perk her up again, because she's not doing very well. When she tried
Mm.
to feed herself yesterday, she couldn't reach her mouth. Then I had to help her
Mm.
eat.
Mm.
Or I give her boosts and I give her protein drinks to try to pump her up a little bit, to give her something for her
Right.
muscles. But
Right.
those are the kind of things that each day you're having.
You
The
just have to
challenge
deal
is to
with.
know what to do. Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
the big challenge of assessing. And I tell my care heroes, ask them how old they are. If
Mm.
they
That
are
can help you
give
gauge.
you a number, it's going to give you an idea what the day is going to
It's
be.
gonna look
And you
like.
can you can
Wow.
adjust yourself to that. And
Right.
that's
Right.
huge. That's huge
Mm.
for the caregivers,
Right.
because that gives them an idea of what's going on.
Right.
Because
Right. Wow.
it's not a steady
Journey.
journey. No way.
Yeah.
It's all
Wow.
over the place.
Honestly, I love it. And it fits so perfectly well when you say that they are care heroes, because they truly are. And you are one, like you are the queen hero. And thank you for doing what you do. So, share with us, what are some life lessons that all this experience, 6.5 years in, has taught you? Before that and after, what are some things that are coming out for you like, whoa, this is a lesson I would like to pass on?
Well, it is a lesson in life. It's like, I believe in the circle of life. My
Hmm.
mother took care of me when I was young, and now I take care of her. It's truly a circle of life. And I've
Hmm.
learned in this process patience. Patience, because and not to plan so much. That's my life lesson.
Mm,
Can't plan ahead too far, because I don't know what's going to happen this afternoon.
mm,
And that's been a
right.
huge shift in my life, of not being able to plan ahead. For me, that's the biggest life lesson. You can't tell what's going to happen in a month or 2 months. You can't, because we don't know what's going to happen with mom or my mother-in-law, and we just don't know what's going on. So that's been hard for me. Although my husband has gone the other way. He didn't plan, and now he's planning completely.
So I guess it's gonna have to shift different people different ways. Wow.
It is. It is. He's my best friend, and it's funny because we are doing this journey together, and
Mm,
that's brought us closer, because we think, okay, we better make sure we don't get this, because we don't do this to our kids. We're not going to do this to our kids. We're going to be really
wow.
careful. Now, I don't know. if we're doing, I'm eating healthy, I'm being healthy, I'm doing everything I can to take care of my body and my brain so I don't get it. Now, I can't guarantee it, but I know they're doing a lot of research now, and hopefully that research will kick in very soon, I hope.
Hmm.
But time will tell. Time will tell.
Right.
And
Right.
there again, I'm not planning. I'm trying, but I can't
Not play.
plan.
I'm going to ask a sensitive question. Are you open to one of that?
I sure am.
Would you say you regret anything?
Um, I've gotten to a point in my life where I don't regret much. I don't regret only because I am looking forward, not backwards.
Hmm.
That's important to me. And that any decision I've made with the information that I have at the time.
Right.
And that may
Hmm.
change tomorrow, but I've been married to my husband. It'll be 40 years this year. I, he's my
Congratulations.
best friend. We
Oh,
take care of mom and my mother-in-law. We've got a lot on our plate, but we also, if we need a break, when we get the moms into bed and it's quiet and we've got the cameras on our phone, we'll drive to the Golden Gate Bridge and we'll just look at the skyline and think, oh my God, that's a beautiful sight. There's the Golden Gate Bridge. It's awesome. And that we calm each other down and we laugh and we joke and we have a great relationship because
oh,
we want to be to 60 years. So, yeah, we're okay. We're okay. So that's why I say I don't regret because it's made me to where I am now. It's
right,
made me to the daughter that takes care of my mother and my mother in law. It's made me the person to change the world and help those other people with taking care of loved ones with dementia, the care heroes. I
right.
get to do this. I don't have to do this. I get to do this.
I love
And
it.
that's so important to me.
I love it. And that is so beautiful to see because I feel like without this particular mindset, it could easily lead to resentment where you feel like, you know what, I'm missing out on life because of this. But
Well,
because of, yeah, tell me.
Well, it is, but I thought by this time I might go into retirement, but I'm not. I'm building a company. I'm doing fine. Um, did I have resentment? I had resentment when I found that I was the only one taking care of my mom and my brother couldn't because he's 500 miles away. I do have a younger sister, but she's not physically able to help anybody else but herself. And so I'm one of three. I'm one of
Hmm.
three, and I'm the only one taking care of my mom. My husband is an only child, so it makes sense. And one time I said to my husband, "Oh, I feel sorry for you because you're going to have to take care of your mom." He goes, "Well, I don't know why you feel sorry for me because you're one of three and you got her."
Your husband seems to have a good sense of humor,
He
and
does.
that's
He does
good.
have a very good sense of humor, and he reminds me that I need to make sure I keep that in mind because and so it doesn't do me any good to resent that my brother or my sister
Yeah.
won't help. It's not worth it. It's not worth spending time on it. It is what it is, and I've got to deal with life the way it is.
Hmm.
I know that when my mom passes, and my mother-in-law passes, my husband and I made the decision we're leaving California, going to somewhere else
Oh,
in the United States. We're going to build a
oh,
life somewhere else. So we do have some plans, but
yeah.
not many. But we know that we will be together.
I
We
love
will
it.
be together. When
That's so
children are sick,
beautiful.
sometimes parents split up. We have our mothers, and we're not splitting up. We're sticking
Mm.
together because we need to support each other through this journey. This is a tough journey.
Bless your hearts. Thank you for sticking together. That is such a beautiful, beautiful example, even for your children. Yes, they probably cannot understand it right now. Like, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to keep mom, like grandma? Like, why can't you take her to a caregiving home? Like, why do you have to bring? They might not understand it now, but it would make sense because I feel like you guys are sowing a seed and it's going to germinate in the nearest future. So keep doing the amazing work. What's your husband's name?
John,
God bless you, John, wherever you are. God bless you. Thank you so much for sticking with Kathrine and for doing life with her through this challenge. And it's just beautiful, honestly, Kathrine. I just want to say this is a beautiful story. And thank you for sharing that story with us.
and thank you for letting me. I appreciate it. Thank you. If we can save the
Absolutely.
world one person, one care hero at a time, we will do it.
Absolutely. So if you would leave a last word, so you leave a last word for somebody right now, just kind of lift their spirit with a message, and then tell us how can we connect to you and to the work that you're doing.
Well, my final words for this is life is worth the fight. That's so
Hmm.
important. Life is worth the fight. And to reach me, they can go to info, at parentsdementiajourney.com. So if they want us that, you want to email me, I can send you information, recordings of our workshops to help you build your life better. We're more than happy to. Also, we can connect you with our, once you send to info at Parents Dementia Journey, we will then hook you up with our website, which lists all our workshops coming up.
Right. Thank you so much, Kathryn. It's been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
talking to you. I love what you do. I love how you've lived and your thinking and how you're looking at life, even with the challenges that has come with you, because now it has actually created a new pathway for you. Creating a business, having a plan, even though it's like, okay, we can't be so uptight with the plan, but let's still have it. And hopefully we're going to get there. Right. So thank you so very much. All the very best on your journey. And hopefully, we get to see more of what you're doing and as you expand across the globe. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you so
Awesome.
much. You have a
You're
wonderful evening. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope that you learned a lot from that story that Kathryn has shared with us. And if you are listening to this right now and you are in that situation where you have been faced with a parent or an older relative going through dementia, this is to tell you you're not alone and there is help available for you. So I'm going to leave the links to get in touch with Kathryn so that regardless of where you are in the world, you can get some level of support. You can join a community of people going through the same thing, and you can get that support that you need for yourself and the person you're caring for. All right. So until I come your way again next week, remember that challenges are not exclusive to any of us. We all go through them. As you can hear from Kathryn's story, we all go through them. But when we assume the posture to say, what is this here to teach me? Then we begin to distill the lessons that comes with those experiences, and that make us better people, makes us add value to the world, just like Kathryn is adding value to the world today. I'll see you next week. This is the Energetic EJ, and this is the Stretch Street Podcast. See you next week. Bye bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that. If this is your first time listening to me, you are welcome on the show. Do well to subscribe to me wherever you're listening to this, whether on YouTube, on Spotify, or anywhere else. And please, if you do want to support the work that I do, you can buy me a cup of coffee for as low as $5 or as much as whatever you want in your heart. The link will be attached to the show notes. Click on that link now. Buy me a coffee for as low as $5. Please, you can follow us on socials. We are Stretch Street Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and you can follow me personally at Global Energetic EJ. I know it's a mouthful, but do check me out on Instagram, Global Energetic EJ. And let's do life together. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.